Hello and welcome back to Motivation Moment. I hope you had an amazing weekend. Happy Monday. This week's video is a little bit different. I wanted to share with you something that I've been working on for about 8 weeks. 8 weeks ago, I found actually on Instagram that Les Brown, one of my all-time favorite speakers in the entire world, was running a really awesome training. And so I researched a little bit, looked into it, decided to invest in myself, paid the money. In the last 7 to 8 weeks, I have been a part of his Power Your Voice system. And Les is educating us every single week on how to become a better speaker, how to hone your story, my story, and how to connect and engage with the audience when you're speaking publicly. It has been absolutely incredible, but what I'm sharing with you this week is one of his assignments. So the first assignment we had was to do a 3-minute speech. 3 minutes for your friend Katie Fortune over here is super difficult because I could talk all day about the things I love and the things I'm passionate about. So you had to go and record a 3-minute talk, a 3-minute story, and you submitted it to his team, and Les and his team looked through all of them and sent back feedback. My feedback was actually really helpful, and I was a little overwhelmed. It was really great, and I loved it. It was awesome. So I had really great feedback. The second step after you got the feedback from the 3-minute talk was you had to record a 15-minute speech, a 15-minute talk, your story. And again, 15 minutes is still not a lot of time for your girl Kate, but I did it. And we are going to be finding out some really cool things in the next few days, but I submitted that, and that's what I want to share with you today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my 15-minute story that I submitted to the Les Brown and his team. You can do anything you put your mind to. How many of you have heard that before? Do you believe it? My name is Katie Fortune, and I believe that for you to believe that you can do anything in the world, it starts with advocating for yourself and standing up for yourself. I'm going to share a story with you about one of the times I had to stand up for myself. Let's rewind all the way back to elementary school. I know it's a long time ago. Thanks. Me in elementary school, we didn't really see eye to eye. I had a very difficult time. I struggled severely through school. I would stay up late with my mom, trying to get things done, can't get things done, struggling, crying, all of the things. My mom and dad had just had it. So they decided to get me tested for a learning disability. Now fast forward a little bit to the first time I ever had to go to a different classroom to get help. I'm a very visual learner, so come along with me. I remember walking down that hallway, that 5th grade hallway, books in my arms, staring at the floor, watching that tile go under my feet as I walked down the hallway very quickly because I was embarrassed, nervous, just scared. So as I'm walking, I look up, and around the corner comes a friend of mine, and he says, "Hey, Katie, going to the special classroom?" And I stood there, stood up straight and looked him in the eyes and said, "Yeah, I am," and kept walking. Now, I came around that corner quickly, and I was like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? What just happened? Yeah, I was nervous and scared, but I was so proud of myself. So proud of myself. for standing up for myself. And I thank him every single day, to this day, for giving me that opportunity to stand up for myself. I mean, 5th grade boys, come on, there's no hard feelings. We were friends all the way through school. But he gave me that opportunity to stand up for myself. And I did. I stood up for myself in front of a peer. And I don't know where it came from, to be honest. But it wasn't the first time. That wasn't the first time I stood up for myself and advocated for myself. The first time, well, that's when I was in the doctor's office. Like I said before, school was difficult. Imagine yourself sitting at that kitchen table, trying to read, and in one sentence, you know a word, and in the next sentence, you don't. And then imagine being the parent. Like, I put myself in my mom's shoes, and I can't imagine how frustrated she was. She's an avid reader. And for her oldest daughter to be struggling so much in school, I'm sure it was frustrating and disheartening. And again, like I said before, my parents had had it. My dad would come home from a really long day in construction, and he'd find his wife and his oldest child crying at the kitchen table. That was it. That's enough. This has happened for too many years. Thankfully, my mom works at an amazing healthcare system, and she and my dad paid a lot of money to get me tested for a learning disability. So that day came. It was between 4th and 5th grade this summer. I remember, and again, very visual learner, I remember walking down the hallway. It was really narrow and the ceilings were really short, but the tile, ugh. It was this terrible light mint green tile. And I remember going into the doctor's office and the doctor being super tall, very kind man, but very, very tall. I remember sitting in a chair that had the most uncomfortable, itchy fabric I had ever sat on. I mean, who seriously makes fabric that's going to itch your skin? It doesn't make any sense to me, quite honestly. It just doesn't. But the chair was itchy, the arms were made of wood, and they were beat up. It was an old chair. That's all I remember. My mom shares with me the rest of this. Within 10 minutes of being in that doctor's office with the doctor, he walked out to the waiting room and said, "Lynn, your daughter is dyslexic. We are going to go through the entire day of testing, so we make sure she has everything she needs to succeed in life. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay." Now, again, I put myself in my mom's shoes. What did she feel like? Was she relieved a little bit? Was she scared? I'm sure she was both. What is Katie's life going to look like? The entire day of testing went on. And at the end of the day, all the doctors came in the room, my mom and I were sitting there, and they were telling me all about my learning disability. And the doctor asked me a question. He said, "Katie, what are you going to tell your friends when you go back to school?" And I looked at him and said, "I'm just going to tell them I learned differently." Let me repeat that. I'm just going to tell them I learned differently. How awesome is that? If I could go back and high-five my 5th grade self, I would do it right now. That is incredible. I just learned differently. It's that simple. It's not easy to be different, but it's simple. I learned differently. That's it. That is the day, the first time I ever advocated for myself. Little tiny Katie. Now I get asked, where does that come from, Katie? Remember, I told you that I was introverted, quiet, scared. But my mom and dad told me the day that I found out I had a learning disability and that I was dyslexic and just learned differently, it was like someone put a quarter in me and I never stopped talking. I got that confidence. I knew that I wasn't stupid. I knew that I wasn't dumb. I just learned differently. But where does it come from, right? Where? Honestly, I just don't know, but I truly believe that it came deep within me. And my entire life has not been easy, has not been a cakewalk. I have not stood up for myself. I have not believed in everything I've ever wanted to do. I double guess myself every day, to this day, still. I still do. But there was a day in my life that was a turning point recently. By recently, 5-ish years ago. I went to school, to college, for interior design. Very visual learner, now the whole tile thing makes sense, right? Like tile, itchy fabric. But I designed houses after I got out of school. I loved my job. I loved working with the people I worked with. They are like my family still to this day. But I knew that there was more for me. Have any of you ever felt that? Have any of you ever felt like there's something more for me? I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'd be good at, but there's something. Well, that was me. I was in Washington, D.C., visiting my college roommate. And I get a text message from a good friend, Jennifer. It says, "Call Doug." Who's Doug? So imagine being in an art museum in the basement. You look at your phone and you're like, I don't have any service down here. Oh, and my phone is on red. Red means dead. It's going to die. So here I am. Can you hear me now? Trying to find service in a basement of an art museum. Found 2 bars. Stood in a corner. Called Doug. Doug picks up the phone. "Hey, Katie, when are you going to be back in town?" "Friday." "Great. What airport are you flying into?" Told him the airport. "Awesome. I have a project there. I'll meet you there and we can chat." Okay. Hang up the phone. Friday comes along. I'm a little nervous. I'm not prepared to go meet someone in an airport to talk about I don't know what. So I get on my last leg to get back to the airport and I befriend a random stranger, of course. I mean, why not? This girl from Germany, I said, "Hey, so I'm supposed to meet this guy. Like, can you have my back? Because I don't really know. And like my friend says he's safe, but I don't really believe it." And let me stop. Have you ever heard the saying, "Do as I say, but not as I do"? Well, that applies right now, okay? Everything from here on out, do as I say, not as I do. Cool? Cool. So I get off the airplane and we're in the smallest airport ever. 1 terminal, you walk into a big room, you grab your bag right off the little thing that comes off of the plane and you walk out the front door. That's how small this airport was at the time. And I get into the room, there's some people in there, so I call because I want to see who's the person so I can eye him up before, give her the okay that it's safe. And I see this guy at the back of the room, arms crossed, salty gray hair, and a leather jacket, staring at me. I'm like, oh, that's the guy. So I walk up, shake his hand, and say, "Hi, I'm Katie Fortune." He says, "Hey, Katie, I'm Doug. Let's go grab some coffee." I'm like, "Oh, okay, sounds cool." And I give her the okay and walk out with him. As I'm walking, I'm like, "Wait, there's no coffee shops in this place? What?" "Yeah." I'm texting my friend, "Oh my gosh, if I die, it's your fault." She's like, "Stop being dramatic. Doug is cool. I've known him for a long time. Just go." We walk out. He drives a minivan. Gray, if you cared. A gray minivan. What? He's a gentleman. Let's open the back door so we can put your suitcase in the back and go get coffee somewhere. Okay? He opens the door and the entire back of the minivan is full of tools. Tools. I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm a goner. God, you know what? I lived a great life. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm sorry for all of my sins. Again, texting my friend, she's like, stop being dramatic, go hang out with Doug, he's actually really cool. Fast forward, we spent 2 hours talking. At the end of the conversation, he says, Katie, the president of the company is gonna call you on Monday. Okay. The president of the company called me on Monday. Katie, I'm gonna be in town in 2 weeks, I wanna meet with you at Perkins. We went and met at Perkins 2 weeks later. He slides a piece of paper across the table and says, here's your offer. We want you to come be a salesperson for us. And you're going to work under Doug. You're going to learn from Doug. I'm like, what? Doug perfectly walks in, puts his arm out and says, can't wait to work with you, Katie. Are you kidding me? What is happening here? Why am I telling you that story? Because Doug saw something in me that I never saw in myself. I never believed that I could be in sales, but he saw that I could. And a saying that he's always said to me that I will never forget is, it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. Who knows you? So why is that important? Because you know you. My question for you is, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe that you can do anything in this world? Do you believe that? I believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself and you can't find a Doug, listen to me right now. I believe in you. You can do anything you put your mind to with a lot of hard work, determination, and never giving up. It's time, my friend. It is time. It's time for you to believe in you. Are you ready? Are you ready to believe in yourself that you can do anything in the world? I'm ready. Are you? Let's do this. Thanks. What did you think? I hope you liked it. I worked really hard on it, and I have been taking all of the practices and all of the things that Les has been teaching to better my speaking ability. And I have been loving every second. Every Wednesday is my favorite evening. I love listening to his stories, watching him help other people. And by the way, I got to speak to Les Brown many weeks ago, and it was super cool for him taking a little bit part of my story and helping me craft it a little bit better. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I went out on a limb and decided to put that out there for the world to see. Well, honestly, because there's nothing really to hide, because that's what I speak about. So I am so glad that you watched it this week. Thank you so much. Any feedback is absolutely welcome. So send me a message, send me a note, whatever you'd like. Like this video, whatever, share it with people. I'm going to keep building up on this talk and my story to help and encourage others around the world. As always, friend, less hate, let's go motivate, and have a wonderful week. See ya.